Okay, here we go. So I have this camera following the object on a path, and now we're going to render it out. So this camera starts following it at 1 and keeps going through 300. So if you want to see how fast it's going to go, how really this is just a simulation when you play it here. It's pretty accurate when it's something simple, but just so you know, you can also do the play blast. It's going to choose the camera that is dominant, so sometimes it's helpful to just make sure that you only have one camera open when you do the play blast. So I'm going to do 1-300 and play blast, and then it'll run through it really quickly, and then it'll show you a video in just a second. There it is, and we can see how fast the camera is actually going to move. That looks pretty good. I'm going to close it, not to save it. Now let's do some rendering actual frames. It actually sees that texture, which is good. You want to make sure your scene is set properly. I see that mine is. It's set to the right place. If yours is not, you can go to File, Set Project, and make sure you find your project. Mine is called Furniture Set. Okay, so now the frames will go into the right place. Make sure you give it a different name. I'm just calling mine House UFO. I gave my UFO object here a texture with some checks on it. So I'm just going to do like a few frames somewhere in the middle. So say somewhere in there, 117. I just want to see what those look like. It's always good to do tests. You could do something a little bigger than this if you wish. I'm just going to do 540 because it's just a test. And name.number.extension is also important. So give it a new name, choose your output. JPEG's a good one. Make sure you change this because usually it's set to a single frame. Choose name.number.extension, change your frame rate, and make sure you choose your camera. Okay, so this camera is called camera 2, camera shape 2. It's the same thing because otherwise it'll just give you a perspective view. Change your size if you want. You can also pump up or redo some of the quality if you wish. All right, so let's then change over to rendering and go to render and choose your render sequence. This is the way to do it without a watermark. Make sure your camera is selected and render sequence and close. Okay, so if you don't have an Arnold license, you'll want to use render sequence. If you do have an Arnold license, you can use batch render, which can be helpful because you can have it render in the background while you do other things. All right, the other thing you can do is look at your desktop here. I'm going to open my Finder. Let's see, maybe I'll move this out of the way for a second. Look for, just look for your folder that you have and look and see in the folder if indeed the scenes, the images are coming out. So there's my new images. It looks pretty good. You can wait and wait for all those to go through. I'll come back to you in just a second once those are done. All right, so I already finished rendering what I wanted to. Again, you can always look through your camera here on this side. Let me just take a look at what I rendered. I decided I liked what I saw, and so I kept rendering it through 160 just to demonstrate. If you don't like, there's a little bit of a curve to the line that it's following. You can always change that by looking, let's see, maybe looking at your side view. I'm going to go to 4 up, go here and look. So there's your line. You could always change that by, bringing that down. Okay, so, but I'm just going to leave mine as it is. Now let's go to After Effects. I'm just going to get rid of what I had before, delete, and I'm just going to show you how to import multiple files. Now I want you to click on your very first one and import JPEG sequence. So there we go. I'm just going to say cancel, and I have my settings to say 24 frames per second. If yours says 30, just remember we were animating at 24 frames per second. You can go to right mouse click on this object here and go to interpret footage main, and then you can change your settings there. You can also change it to always bring it in as 24 frames per second if you wish. Go to timeline and import, and then that's where you can change the sequence import settings. Now all you have to do is drag this stack over this new composition window, which is down here. It's like 3 colored dots, and then you have, I'm going to play it by going to preview. what you have there is a composition or sequence. If I look at the settings, it's the right size, which is 960 by 540, which is what I rendered my stuff out from, and it gives the exact right size. So once you have that, you go to File, Export, and you send it to Media Encoder. And that's because Media Encoder might take a second to open, it always does, but it allows you more options. Might take a minute for it to come up. If you want, you could rename it, and you could also place it in a different place. I'll call mine Output, and then I'm going to put mine on my desktop. Sometimes it gets a little crazy and gives me a hard time at where it is. Okay, so then you can change your presets there if you wish, but I'm just going to say H.264 is fine. Say OK. Remember to press this little green button here, because it's not always obvious, but that's how you get it to start. It was really fast because it's very short. I'm just going to move that out of the way. And here's what I just rendered. So there you go. So should be not too hard. I know it's a lot of steps, but I do think it's worth it. Thanks.